What's going on, everyone? This is the second kind of re-upload, better quality, hopefully fixing of a previous video that was uploaded in 1080p, but then around quarantine time downgraded to 360, and for some reason never fixed. That's kind of a broken video, and it's one of my, more popular ones, so I figured I'd redo it, better quality for you guys out there. So this is my Speed Slayer build. And let's just talk about Slayer for a second. Trophy Hunter, his passive ability. Hitting an enemy grants a stacking damage buff, increases damage by 10%, stacking 3 times, buff lasts 3 seconds. So each enemy you hit, you get 10% damage, stacks 3 times, 30% more damage at max stacks. His career skill is a leap. Barden leaps forward to stun a target and gains 30% increased attack speed for 10 seconds. Pretty solid career. This one, the way you kind of use this one, I guess I'll get into that for the ults, but yeah, he's got a leap, increased attack speed for 10 seconds. Pretty nice for killing everything. I like this ultimate. Path of Carnage is what he also has, increased attack speed by 7.5%, and also Drinky Grit. Charge attacks cannot be interrupted by damage, so if you're charging, you get hit, you still can do the charge attack. You're not like, you don't have to reset everything. So down here, I go for Doomseeker, damaging multiple enemies in one swing with a melee weapon, grants temporary health, max 5 enemies. This is really good for this kind of build because his weapons, he's gonna be swinging real fast all the time, hitting tons of things. He'll be killing a lot, so like killing blows isn't a bad sub out, but I mean this one you're just gonna make like a crap ton against hordes. Killing, you're gonna have to kind of rely a little bit on getting the kill, which you probably will, but I mean this one I think is just a little bit more reliable. And then heal share, I never go for it. You make no temp health. You heal zealots when they don't want to be healed. It's just a bit of a pain talent. I really don't like it. Doomseeker, trust me. And then down here, this is probably the most important one. 1,000 cuts. Wielding one-handed weapons in both slots increases attack speed by 10%. Dual weapons count as one-handed, which is why we're going to be using dual wielding weapons. Skull Splitter is a really good talent, but that's for our Power Slayer build, and then Hack and Slash is just basic crit chance increase. This is like if you want to run the throwing axes, this is what you'd pretty much have to use to get anything out of them. But 1,000 cuts for this is what I like. Down here you have Smiter, which is 20% more damage on the first hit. Mainstay 60% on the 60% damage on the third hit, 40% damage on the second hit, and no damage buff on the first hit. I don't know why I went backwards, but that's how that works. And then enhanced power, 10% across the board. Melee range, I don't think it's that useful for Slayer since he doesn't really have a ranged weapon. It also does, it does give more cleave, but like for this one, Mainstay is just fine to leave it at. For charge attacks, Mainstay and Smiter are actually pretty much the same. They do the same amount of damage, but Mainstay is probably a little bit better for light attacks. So that's why I have that here. High Tally I really like. It gives him another stack on Trophy Hunter, so instead of 30% maximum damage, you have 40% on max stacks. It's really easy to get those max stacks, guys. Adrenaline Surge is a decent one. On max stacks, Trophy Hunter grants cooldown reduction on leap, so the way this one works is like if you have those 3 stacks and you keep hitting them, you keep it at 3 stacks, it'll go down like twice as fast or something. So you get it back a little faster. But I mean, with crits, like you kind of naturally get it back anyway, and it's a pretty short cooldown for the ult, so I like more damage personally. Impatience is each stack of Trophy Hunter increases movement speed by 10%. This is the talent that people who really like have never played Slayer before might pick, because it's like, ooh, we get to run fast. Like this is not that great of a talent in my opinion. Just trust me and stick with Trophy Hunter or High Tally, please, because I hate movement speed so much. Down here, Grimnir's Focus is actually not bad. If you do a charge attack, you get 40% reduced damage taken for 5 seconds. So if you like doing charge attacks a lot, this would be a good one to use. Barge is absolute garbage. Effective dodges pushes nearby small enemies out of the way. I think they were trying to do something like Wraithwalk for Handmaiden, but it's just not the same because you're not going through them. You're kind of like pushing them, and it's awkward. I don't like this one. Oblivious to Pain is what I really like for this guy, because basically damage you take from elite enemies or monsters is reduced to 10 damage or half of its original value, whichever is highest on Legend. The difficulty I personally play at, it's going to be the half damage pretty much the whole time. So you basically take 50% reduced damage from elites and monsters, which is actually pretty nice because those are really the things that are going to damage you the most. But I mean, this one or this one would really work really well. And now for the ults. You have Dulwy Drop, which is increased attack damage while airborne during leap by 150%. This one, much like Barge, is funny, but it's not really all that good, because when are you ever going to use this? I mean, you really have to time this one perfectly, and even then you get like 1 or 2 hits off. It's just not good at all. No escape. The speedrunner's talent, leaps attack, speed buff also increases movement speed by 25% for the duration. You all know how I feel about movement speed. I hate it so much. It's like the most useless thing to me ever. I don't like it. Crunch is the one to use. You get basically 100% increase in your stagger effect from your leap, which is double for those of you who are bad at math like myself. This one's really good. And now I'll kind of explain how to use the ult here. So when you leap, you would think like, oh, you're going to leap pretty far into a horde, right? No, not the case. You're going to look straight at the ground and you're going to do your leap. Why? Because you won't move anywhere, but that giant horde that has surrounded you when you're trying to desperately fight for your life from, all of it will get knocked back, and you can escape or you can kill them all. You look straight at the ground and you ult, and it'll knock everything back or down for like a couple seconds. It's really nice. Crunch is awesome. They used to have like the mega leap here, which was fun, and I kind of wish they would bring that back instead of one of these two, but Crunch is really good. I'm glad this was brought back some time ago. And then the weapons, dual hammers, crit chance, attack speed, swift sling. You're gonna want to swing these very quickly, and that's what you're gonna be doing. Fast weapons are the best for Slayer. These actually have 4 stamina, so if you need a block or something, whip these out, and you can get a couple blocks off. Pretty nice. Also, the dual axes. I pretty much only bust these out against a monster, or maybe like a Chaos Warrior or something with a lot of health, and you can just kind of, mash away, crit chance, attack speed, swift sling. Same thing as the hammers. These are just, they have armor piercing, so they're a little bit better for like a Storm Fiend or something like that, something where there's armor, like a Chaos Warrior. Big boys. Then the necklace, health, block cost reduction, and bark skin. I like that damage reduction. Couples pretty nicely with Oblivious to Pain. If you want Boon of Shalia, that'll work great as well. Natural Bond might work okay. I never really use it with this guy, but I couldn't really say for certain. But I mean, Bark Skin I think is probably the best one for this guy. He does have 150 health, so he can be fairly tanky with that. The Charm, Powers, Chaos, Attack Speed, Concoction. Concoction will get you your ult back with a couple seconds. For the next one, gone as well. I think the ult's only 40 seconds, so he can get that back pretty quick. Chaos enemies have more health than Skaven enemies. That includes Beastmen, so 10% for that. A little more damage to that faction. Attack speed, why not? Your Slayer, you're going to have like, I think he has like 50% attack speed or extra attack speed or something when he ults. It's pretty nice. He gets a lot. And then Trinket, Curse Resistance, Crit Chance, Shrapnel. Like I said, I never changed this for anything. Shrapnel's really great. If you have a bomb, you can throw it at a monster and they'll take 20% more damage. And if someone has Hunter and they proc that, it's like 25% more damage for them. So then it kind of stacks up, and it's really great. It's nice. It's a nice helping talent, basically. Makes things melt pretty quickly. Crit chance to proc your Swift Sling, obviously. Curse resistance for the Grims, Legend and Under. Don't use it on Cataclysm because nobody goes for Grims on that. But yeah, there you go, guys. That's the Speed Slayer, re-uploaded and slightly updated in full 1080p quality. Later, dudes.